World's baby.
Hello, perceptive readers. This is James Lynch, and welcome to another topic this week. I want you to picture yourself, or if not yourself, actually picture a photograph, an image, a creation of someone with a lot of snow outside. So they're inside like a cabin, and it's actually snowing outside. See, this could actually be you. Already the snow is coming up on the ground. In other words, it's enough snow to enjoy the environment, the softness, the quietness, the way that the snow comes down. And at the same time, if you needed or wanted to go to a coffee shop and do some reading, then you could do that as well. It won't be like the roads are totally blocked off and wishy-washy, or how the slushy sound of what happens when snow is on the road. Well, you decide that you want to read. You go to the library during this time of year, and for some of you, it may actually be the very first time you get a library card. Um, it is my understanding all throughout several states, so I'm just going to say for the United States of America, the first library card, is it still free? Also, I think every so many years, if it gets to looking kind of beat up or what have you through the lamination, then sometimes the librarian will just go ahead and say, no, we're going to give you another one anyway. This or what have you. But no, for the most part, I know the first card is normally free, if not always free. I just, like I said, it's not something that I've looked up recently. All the same, you go in there and you start looking through those different genres, which we have talked about over the past couple of weeks now. I actually have a survey on my website on what genre is your favorite. I started off talking about nonfiction, explaining basically what that is, fiction, uh, then, of course, science fiction, periodicals. And so we could make the categories even larger than that, or subcategories. But I mentioned periodicals because that does include like magazines and papers from other institutions. So you know that even though that information is basically giving you facts and events and research, uh, a lot of it is still very much in an editorialized way. So, some opinions are thrown in there left and right, So that's why I just went on ahead and just said, the periodicals. So some people, like back in the day, um, uh, actually had subscriptions to what they call the Reader's Digest. And I firmly believe, just looking through those books, and this was over quite a few decades ago, but you can just tell the seriousness. It was very serious, the seriousness, yes, of mindset that those men and women had for writing those different subjects and topics in there. And they were interesting enough that, yes, a lot of people were reading the Reader's Digest that you didn't even think, you didn't even know unless you actually asked or saw, by the type of wrapping that they had, that they got them in the mail. You knew that, oh, okay, that person's a Reader Digest individual. Now, with the advancement of technology, I would be very surprised if their subscription level is still on the level of what it used to be back in the day. And I do wish those persons well, those persons who were reporting and writing those articles. It is my hope that every single one of them still went on to, make a lucrative living, and in their upper, years of life, uh, they have no want or lack, so to speak. Now, with that being said, see, we were talking about snow. See, it's during this season, if you will, where children at times don't go to school because they can't go to school, because sometimes some schools, it's almost like, wait a minute, I saw 2 drops of snow. You got to go home, or you just don't come in. It just depends on where you're at in the United States, at least, because I know around the world, they'll break out the oxen and the cows and whatever, and they'll still jump on their back and go to school, whatever. But anyway, I let me leave from there. But the whole point is, back then, it was during those times that persons actually developed, if you will, exercise, if you will, their desire to read something that they wouldn't have read any other time. The Reader's Digest was one of them. Yet, when they did that, some persons, when they got that experience, it gave them an idea of, well, you know what? If a snowstorm coming in, I better go check out, 3 or 4 books. And from what I understand, over the years, you can practically check out almost an unlimited number of books or what have you. At the very least, depending on your credit of who you are. Now listen to me. You see, some of us, we walk in there and we could go take a wheelbarrow of books out the library, and they'll just smile, probably help us carry it to the car. Anyway, I'm just talking. I'm not talking about myself. Anyway, with that being said, imagine yourself. See, during this season, some people feel like the activities of summer are gone. And I've already, heard people say every year about, I miss summer. And they're saying it already. I miss summer. I miss what I was able to do. And yet some of these same persons, they also still have an aptitude for reading, whether they realize it or not, because they mostly exercise it and probably, doing their jobs and work and things of that nature. And it's almost like, well, I read so much here and there, I don't really want to read otherwise. And this is still just a suggestion, just a thought. Sometimes I say, well, when was the last time you read what you really wanted to read? I know some of us can't help but read things on a research level. Just like here lately, I tell you, technology, it just requires us to do that for some of us for what we're trying to accomplish. But all the same, do you have fun reading, if you will? Do you have that one book that you've been talking about for weeks, months, and years that you always wanted to read? Well, you know something? And when persons do slow down, if there is inclement weather, if you will, where it's not, you're not even able to go to the coffee shop like maybe you want to or what have you, you could have that one book, if not more, and be surprised as you put yourself in that picture with the snow coming down, with a good book, with a cup of cocoa, cup of coffee, cup of tea, or what have you. Boy, I bet you will go through those chapters like it's nothing. It's of course, it's just you. It's no competition. It may be something like the people back in the day who were reading the Reader's Digest. A lot of them just didn't go around telling people they were reading the Reader's Digest. That was just their, again, pleasurable reading. You see, a lot of people got pleasure from reading those type of periodicals as well. But all the same, you and your novel, it's no rush. But this was just a suggestion, just a thought. During these seasons of slowness for some people, and for others, this is a season of, as we said, what spirit or festivities and things of that nature. And boy, they seem to still always have somewhere to go on Friday and Saturday night, and then sleep in all day on Sunday. I'm just talking. Anyway, thank you for spending this time with me. I wanted to talk about reading again. I'm actually still developing the world's novel. And yes, in my mind, I do have a deadline of when I want to release the world's novel. I'm just not going to express it yet. I'm just going to keep on developing it and things of the nature. And so, thank you for your interest as always. And I just want you to have a wonderful day. Think about going and getting that library card, picking out a book for yourself. You can normally keep them up to 2, 3 weeks, and then you can renew them at least normally a couple of more times after that. You see, but remember I told you, depending on who you are, sometimes to make sure that that you haven't lost the book. That's one of the reasons why you normally have to go back in person or what have you for the verification of you do have the physical item or with you. And then sometimes again, I told you they'll just practically give you another chance. But it just depends on what type of reader you are and things of that nature, because they got the record of it. And so, and most likely your age, like I said, some persons who I like to say over 80, they may be able to walk in there and say, I'm keeping this book for the next 3 months, and I want you to know that right now. And they'll probably just, okay, sir, or whatever. Anyway, have a very wonderful day. Take care.